All right, back to work on this thing. Really been wanting to paint this intake. I finally found a K&N filter that'll replace this cheapy filter. So I'm gonna use the cheapy filter as my masking on where to paint. See how it turns out. New hose finally came in. Can finally get everything together on this side after getting this replaced. Still got to fight with getting one off and then getting two back in. Well, that came out super quick. I just got to size it up. And some new clamps. Hopefully. Hopefully they're not these. Okay, finally got new hoses. Replaced that one, this one. Both run back here where it's terrible to get to. Had to fight with a couple different clamps because old clamps are breaking, new clamps didn't fit great, but it's done. Now I can start with getting the manifold and the turbo on. All right, new manifold is on. Next, alternator bracket. I need to clock the turbo because it's different on this car than it is on a regular DSM. And I can get the turbo back on and start working on the other side. You can see how different the turbo looks as far as the angle. Don't forget the locating pin. Don't just go loosening stuff and trying to bang on things. I think that's about right. All right, opened up the holes a little bit, bent the bracket a little bit. I know anybody that's watching this and does real work is about to throw up. However, we're improving from this bent rod, which is how the car's always been, to the factory Force Performance rod, and just a modified bracket. Should work a lot better. All right, been a few days, been distracted. Time to get back to work. So the other day doing these new lines, I made the clamps I had work. And then I decided if I'm gonna do it, I might as well do it right, and ordered some new clamps. So I'm going to get the clamps that are down here off and replace them, and go ahead and replace all the other clamps on the wheel lines too, before I move on to anything else. All right, new clamp. And two new clamps. Feel much better about those. Time to get the turbo actually on. Got the oil drain tube cleaned up. Got the coolant line on. So I was gonna finish up the turbo, but I need some RTV, and apparently all mine is old and nasty and doesn't work. So I wanted to make sure the alternator bracket would fit, and it's hitting down here. So I'm gonna have to clearance that. And I wanted to clearance this. You can see where it's always hit right here. So I just wanted to make sure where, and go ahead and fix that real quick too. All right, got that clearanced. And focus, it won't. We got that clearance too. All right, turbo is completely on except for the oil feed line, which was originally over there. Blocked it off to pull it from down here. Only problem is this little guy. There was an oil pressure sensor in there when I got the car, but there's already an oil pressure sensor over there. So I didn't need one just sitting there with no wires going to it, and I got a block off for it. But as soon as the block off went in, it got real tight real quick, and now I'm gonna have to fight with it to get it out and run the new oil feed line. I've been dreading this ever since I put it in there. I didn't mention that as soon as it went in, I tried getting it out and it stripped real quick. So this is where we're at. It's great. She just broke free. I thought, yes, look at it's spinning. Yes. All right. We'll get an oil pan, because oil's about to come out of here and get the new feed line ready to plug it up as quick as possible. Okay, I'm dumb. Feed line is going there. Plug can stay, but I still don't like this one and they're stripped, so I'm going to take it out, put a new plug in, make sure it doesn't strip. I can't believe it, that guy actually broke loose without stripping too. Thank you to my favorite breaker bar. Had to do some clearancing on the alternator for the new manifold. It just barely fits. I don't know if my heat shield for the alternator is going to fit anymore, but we'll tackle that in just a second. All the turbo stuff is done. Well, this terrible heat shield I made does not fit anymore with the new manifold. So we'll just have to hope for the best for the alternator. See how it goes. Got the new filter in. Got the tiniest amount of clearance here from working on that earlier. Just need to get some clamps, and turbo side of stuff is done. All right, I am done for the day. So we got manifold done, turbo's on, new oil feed line, blocked that one off. Got both water lines run, got downpipe connected, got the oil drain connected. There's the new oil feed down here. Had to clearance the alternator to get it to fit with new manifold. Got a new thermostat put on. Got the top off. Make it easy to get the seats out. The seats gotta come out anyway, and it'll make it easier to get the carpet over the tunnel out, to pull the tunnel and get to the transmission, do the clutch and flywheel. We got a new manifold ready to go on too. I think with the new throttle body, to reuse this pipe, I'm gonna have to cut the flange, put a bead around it, and I'll flip it over because I've always had to stretch to get this plug in like it needs to be. And I'll also give a little more access doing the clutch stuff. Yeah, that'll be it. And probably, since I'll have the interior torn apart, see if we can get a working fuel gauge going too.